To be with you again. We have been working through a couple of different thoughts and ideas, and kind of examining our own life and some of the things that really we've had opportunities with, that we're beginning to figure out and get
right
down again.
Yeah,
right?
you know, every time that we share with you all, it's really because it's a part of our life that
Good
we're
morning,
trying
JS.
to reclaim. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, no, yeah. We're just, if we're talking to you, just know we're not talking at you, we're talking with you. And everything that we're sharing for you to implement in your life and marriage is what we want in our life and marriage, and the things that we're fighting for.
Yeah. So I think we can...
Oh, it's Jamie LaRue.
What's up, Miss Jamie? Good
Hello.
morning.
Yay. Oh,
Good
we
to
love
see
you.
Yeah, we've been praying for you guys. I reached out to Dennis a little bit earlier in the week. Good morning, Carrie Lindemann.
Yep.
Good to see you on here this morning. Make sure and say hey and let us know where you're listening in from, guys. We're going to jump right in here in just a second. So, you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, so here it is. We're going to talk to you a little bit about rhythm today. Rhythm is way more important sometimes than what we give it credit for being. And I know in our life, when we get out of sync or we get out of rhythm, it really causes everything to be more difficult and just to feel weird, right? And so I want to talk to you about something that a lot of times we think of balance more so than we do rhythm. We've been taught that this idea of balance is something. We're always, you hear people talking about, I wish I had better balance in my life, or I want more balance in my life. And I'm sure we all want more balance in our life if you want to know the truth about it. But the problem with that is that it's an illusion. I don't believe that there's such a thing as balance in your life. I really don't. And the reason is because there's always some portion of your life. There's always one domain in your life that's going to require a little bit more of you than another area. There's some seasons in your life, in other words, that our health is going to require more focused attention, right? There's sometimes in our life where our marriage is going to require a lot more intentionality. And then sometimes our career or our finances or our parenting or our faith. At any given moment, there's probably one area of your life that demands a little bit more of you than another. And so we lose balance, and then, we feel like we're doing something wrong. But I don't think that that's really the answer, balance, that is. What we found is that rhythm is a lot more of a sustainable beat, if you will, something that we can work with. Everything in the universe, everything in the world, God created intentionally with a rhythm, right?
Yep.
With a natural beat to it, if you will. Your heartbeat is a great example. God did that. The ocean waves, they come in sets, and they come in sets of 7, in fact.
Yeah, I would say that the ocean is ever balanced, right?
Yeah.
It has a healthy rhythm.
That's exactly right. And so for us, when we get out of rhythm, that's when we realize that things begin to get wanky and weird in our life, right? So,
absolutely. So we are in a place where we have fought for and now feel like we have a sustainable, healthy rhythm. And that rhythm, I think that part of it, we're going to share 5 ways that if you feel out of sync, if you feel like the rhythm of your life isn't where you want it, then there are 5 things that we've discovered. We'd love to know what you might discover as well. Share your best practices to maintain or obtain that healthy rhythm of life. I know for us, this season of our 50s now has been a whole new season where we've had to recognize it. So the very first thing that we want to encourage you to do is recognize the season of your life and set your expectations accordingly. Sometimes when I feel out of sync, it's because I have an unrealistic expectation. I'm borrowing a different season of my life and trying to carry it into the current season. Or I'm wanting a season that's ahead of my life that honestly I need to pull back and retract a little bit to live in this current season of life. And so I think this has played out for us with our kids as of late. We always had this core value that we were going to spend 5 nights having conversation, having dinner around dinner around the table, right? And what we realize is our kids are now 19, 21, and 26, and 2 of them are living in completely different states. So that expectation of connection had to change with the current season, and there's a season of release that we're experiencing. So look, that's kind of a rhythm that I've had to reclaim as a mama. The release of letting my kids go into adulthood, that there was an expectation that was causing me to feel out of sync, frustrated with the current season of life. And so I've had to adjust to really focus in on what it is that I need to give attention to, how I can have what it is that I want in life, connection, for example, with my kids. So think about what's most important to you. Think about the season of your life, and are there some expectations that you need to change in order to maintain that healthy rhythm? What would you add, babe?
I would just say that it's a great place to start. We have to think, okay, are we out of sync? Are we feeling wonky? You know, what's really going on? And recognize maybe that the things that we've tried to maintain in the past are not the things that we need to try to maintain now. Maybe we need to maintain them, but there's a different methodology or a different way that we need to go about it. And I think the kids is a great example. We kind of fought that, but they're at a season in life where really if
our light.
Well, hey, it got dark in here. Anyway, that we try to hang on to something creates resistance,
right?
You know,
right.
And we noticed that even our kids were beginning to have some resistance to us trying to keep things the same. So periodically, it's a good idea for us just to kind of assess, okay, what season are we in, and what transitions do we need to make in order to find the rhythm in this particular season? And so I think it's a great thought.
So the question for you to think about, maybe jot this down, come back to it when you have more time for reflection, but what do you need to be focused on? What do you need to give your attention to in the season of life that you're at that may demand a little bit more or a little bit less, a little bit give, a little bit of take, right? To be able to prioritize what matters most, which brings us to number 2.
Yeah, the second thing is just prioritizing what's most important now. What was most important in the previous season may not be what's most important right now. And so I think it's just we've made it a habit to frequently ask ourselves, okay, what's really most important right now? And I think that in all of that, the first step in discovering what's most important right now is really discerning what it is that we really want too. Would you agree with that, love?
Yeah. There was a quote, I wrote it down. Peter Drucker said, in his book, it was The Effective Executive.
Oh, I remember that one.
And he said, when he talks about the importance of setting goals, is deciding which are most important and then doing the most important thing first. And then he says, the problem is often figuring out just what is most important. And I think that that's where there are times in our life where we have to give ourselves room of reflection so that we can discern what is most important and not to get frustrated. I come back to the thought of sowing and reaping, right? Sowing and reaping. Like if I plant a seed, and I've decided that this is the plan I want. So I've decided what's most important. I've asked my questions of, I really want to grow this kind of area of my life. This is what I've discerned. It's like, is what I'm doing right now going to produce what I want? And so planting that seed, I've chosen my plant. I've chosen what I'm going to give my attention to. But then if I plant that plant and I go out, and I think John Maxwell did this once, next day I go and I'm looking like, well, why is my plant not growing? And you go and you dig it up, right? You're going to kill the plant. And so, again, understanding the seasons, understanding that what I plant today, I may need to nurture for a little while, not grow weary in taking care or tending that area of my life, because I'm going to reap from that area.
Yeah. The only thing that I would add is just a kind of a reiteration. I love the thought that you had there, that you shared about, again, when we feel out of sync, when we feel out of rhythm, then we need to think about, again, what is it that we want and what's most important. And when you said, when I've decided what I want, in other words, when I decide what kind of a harvest I want, what kind of a plant I want to have, then I can plant that seed. And so the question that I often ask myself in my time of reflection in any given day, and I think these are great questions to remind ourselves and make a habit of asking ourselves, is what I'm doing, are the seeds that I'm planting, or are the seeds that I planted today going to render the harvest that I want to reap from? And that's the same in our relationship as it is our retirement counts, our businesses, our kids. Are we speaking life? Are we planting seeds that are going to produce a harvest that we want? Or are we planting seeds, because that principle of sowing and reaping in our life is really important, because it works in both directions. You know, if we're planting seeds of things we don't want, we'll also reap a harvest of things that we don't want. And the cool thing is that whatever we plant, we usually get more of than what we planted. So discern what it is that we want, discern what it is that is most important, and then make sure that we are really doing the right things, acting in the right behaviors, and becoming the person who can have what it is that we're wanting to reach.
That's good, babe.
How about number 3? What's it?
Well, yeah, you know, so let me just pause here real quick. What is it that you want? I mean, like, what is it that you're hungry for? Where in your life do you maybe feel out of sync, and what do you want around that? Sometimes it's so easy to get wrapped up in the problem or the issue that it really stops us from being able to move forward. We get frozen. And so if we can get honest with ourselves and ask ourselves that question, what do I want? What do I want to plant? What do I want to experience in life? And then
What's the most important now?
Right now, in this season. Yeah. So moving on though.
Number 3.
Yep.
Determine your healthy rhythm. Maybe it's something you never even considered before, but maybe when we talk about it here just a little bit, and what our experience has been and what we've learned, it'll resonate with you a little bit. When I say, you notice that the emphasis was on the word your. What is your healthy rhythm? I think sometimes we start peering out our, and beginning to compare and, and think about what somebody else's healthy rhythm is or what they're doing. And sometimes I think we can fall into covetousness,
comparisons, competition.
And every time we do that, when we begin to compare ourselves with other people, it really leads to self-judgment, okay? It leads to less than a healthy self-image, And so what we've learned is to run our own race, stay our own course, and think about what it is that we're designed to do. One of the things we do is a private retreat in our home to help people discover their purpose, not figure out their purpose.
Right.
It's not about figuring it out.
So good.
It's just about digging around in there and looking at the evidence of your life of why God created you specifically and for what, And so as we do that, when we become purposeful in our living, then we are less likely to compare ourselves to other people who maybe have a completely different purpose, right?
Yeah.
And we can run our own race and not compete. You use a lot of times an analogy between 2 different types of horses. You want to talk about that?
Yeah. So, I think about like a workhorse or a racehorse. The workhorse could never go win the Kentucky Derby, right?
Probably not.
But the racehorse could never do what the workhorse could do. Yeah. And so I think for me in my life, I want to recognize my own capacity. I don't want to be a racehorse trying to do a workhorse's job, and I certainly don't want to be a workhorse trying to do a racehorse job. It's in scripture, there's this really great verse. I think it's either in Jeremiah or Romans, where it talks about God created some for noble purposes and some for common. But God's not impressed by either one of those things.
Great
it's just
point.
Simply the design.
Yeah.
So I come back to that in my life, and sometimes I have to be honest, I look at other people's lives, and because I admire what they're doing and the impact that they're making, I'm like, I want that.
Why isn't that happening for me,
And then I get frustrated because, and so I'm in this season of life, I'm really learning that I just want to not sit and not work, but sit in posture. And listen for what it is that God's saying and the doors He's opening. All right, number 4.
Take it away.
Set small, attainable goals to set yourself up for success, right? I think like let's say there's something in your spiritual life you want to change. You want more of God. Rather than having this all of a sudden, I'm going to tithe 10% of my day. I'm going to spend 2 hours and 40 minutes every single day in prayer, in worship, and maybe you've never even opened up your Bible yet. The point is make the goal small, measurable, attainable. Set yourself up for success.
That's really good.
How about 5 minutes of prayer, 5 minutes of worship, 5 minutes of reading the Word? So that way, again, you're growing and your capacity is growing right along with it, versus setting a lofty goal that is not attainable necessarily for your rhythm of life, and then you frustrate, your expectations are out of line. It all kind of goes with it. Just keep planting those seeds of growth.
I love that idea. It makes me think, again, of bringing things back to the fundamentals. So if you're out of sync, you want to set some small, attainable goals. Whenever I take a new team, if I take over a business or buy a business or, begin to run a team, one of the things that I love to do, that we love to do, is to set goals that we know are attainable. They're slightly beyond where we currently are, but they're attainable. And I think that that's really important for us to do in our life too, in our marriage, to set some attainable goals. And I love the other thing that you iterated there, babe. I like to work with people to try to help them become more physically fit, and a lot of people ask me questions about those kind of things, just because I've seen such a transformation in my body over the last, I guess it's been 5 to 6 years now since I've been working on this. But anyway, one of the biggest keys if you're searching for rhythm is to really know your own capacity at this time in your life, and then to begin where you are. I would never send someone to the gym to do what I do after several years of working in the gym. When Julie and I first got started on this journey of reclaiming our health and our fitness, we went to the gym, but we hopped on a elliptical, and we worked for I don't know, at first getting to 15 minutes was too much.
Yep.
I'm just telling you, it's a ridiculous thought for me today, but at the time, I remember celebrating after about a week and a half of going in almost every day that we actually lasted 15 minutes without getting off the silly thing. And so I think the important thing is to establish and begin to create that habit of just getting to the gym in this particular example. So whatever it is, set a small, attainable goal. Ours at that time was get into the gym at least 5 days a week. Scott Fay bumped into me one time in the gym, caught me sitting on the couch. It just popped into my head. He'd love that I brought that up. Anyway, he's razzed me about it for, I think, he's not going to let it go. But anyway, it wasn't that I was sitting on the couch the whole time, Scott Fay. It was just that I was waiting on my wife to get out of the water massage.
Yeah,
but anyway,
it looked like I was back in the back working out. Anyway.
Point is, set a small, attainable goal, and we need to reassess that, and then we need to celebrate the fact that we achieved that goal, and then we can ratchet it up just a little bit at a time. And I think that's go a long way to helping us get back into sync and back into rhythm.
And that's the same thing. You think about kids. Maybe practice a little self-restraint. Don't binge watch the whole night, and spend 15 minutes with them. Have one question that you ask them each day that causes a meaningful conversation, rather than all of a sudden we're going to have all this great family time, if that's been an area of depletion. So again, a small,
start small.
measurable
That's so good, especially with the kids too.
Yeah.
Because again, if you try to overdo it, what happens is they begin to resist it, and then you feel rejected, and So start where you are.
Yeah.
Make sure it's attainable.
All right,
and
number
celebrate
5.
small successes. I would
Yeah,
say.
celebrate. That's so good. Number 5, constantly reevaluate and course correct as needed without judgment.
Tell me about that. What's your experience with that?
Well, so often, I can get defeated in the rhythms of life, of living out what I want, and just give up because I'm condemning myself. Oh, I set that goal and I didn't hit it again. Or I set that, I really want this vision for my life, but here I am over here again. There's no time for that.
No time for what? Self-judgment?
Self-judgment, yeah. We heard a really great podcast recently, and in the podcast it was like, man, I'm just gaining weight, and I didn't go and work out in the gym, and I'm tired, and that's exactly what I want for my life. So the idea is tack that statement on, and that's exactly what I want for my life. Versus, because that's judgment, right? We're going into, I stink and I didn't do this, and that's exactly what I want for my life. Or we can say, you know what? I didn't work out this week. I'm tired. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go in for 15 minutes today, and I'm going to start all over today because I want healthiness and I want to be strong in my physique, because that's exactly what I want for my life. So it's just that small little twist where there's not judgment, there's that life-giving moving forward. You know, we never drift. You say this a lot. We never drift towards greatness. Or how do you say that? You say it so brilliantly.
We just never drift. Yeah, I mean, we never drift towards greatness. We never drift in our marriages. We never drift together. We drift apart, and that's where, what we're talking about there really is intentionality, and making sure that we understand that it takes intentionality to have what it is that we want. We just can't scatter random seeds and expect a specific harvest. We need to focus on that. So the idea of that's exactly what I want for my life is just a good checkpoint for your thoughts, because thought leaders agree. All of us know. The Bible even tells us that what we think about, we become. And so I think we discount that. We don't really leverage that to the level that we could in our daily lives. So as we wrap up, I think that little checkpoint is important for me to remember. Is in the thoughts that are in my mind and the words that are coming out of my mouth. If I end each one of those sentences or thoughts with, and that's exactly what I want for my life, is it exactly what I want for my life? Or do I want something different than that? And if we want something different, we need to think different thoughts and thereby do different things, right? So that we can welcome what it is that we do want for our life. So it's a great little checkpoint. We've been using it a lot. We've caught each other and said, and
that's exactly
I'll say something, and Julie will say, and that's exactly what I want for my life. And it's like, no, not really. So let me just bear with me here. Let me think. Okay, what do I want for my life? And then, it helps us just to kind of govern our thoughts and to govern our speech. Not only, I don't even know what that is. Okay. Anyway. So
here's the final words. Slow down or speed up, right? Think about the rhythm of your life and where you need to give attention to. Bring order to it. Bring not an idea of this elusiveness of it's always going to be perfectly balanced, but keep a healthy rhythm of what you want for your life. Systemize what it is that you want to do. Set those small, measurable goals. Discover what it is that you really want and be honest with yourself. Understand your capacity. Check your expectations, and then calendar that kind of connection to be intentional towards what it is that you say you want.
Hey, it's good to be back with you again this week. Hope you enjoyed this time together. We certainly enjoyed kind of reflecting about this in our own life, and every time we do this, it causes us to cinch things up, because you can't give what you don't have. And so what we're speaking from experience. We know it works, and so we hope that you're able to grab at least one nugget there that will help you get back into rhythm, a rhythm that you can enjoy. Yeah,
that's good. All right, we'll catch you next time. Thanks for joining us.
Have a great week.